Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show podcast. Hello if you're new. So today's podcast is going to be a review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, The Reunion. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a dislike, no hard feelings. So let's get into the review. So going into this, I wasn't sure what format they were actually going to do with the whole coronavirus situation. I was kind of hoping they had filmed it before the pandemic situation, lockdown situation, because I've watched a few of these virtual reunions and they're just not the same as in real life, but we do have a virtual reunion. So the episode begins, we've got a kind of musical number. They kind of low-key address the pervy pie situation. They don't address her directly, but they basically said that it started off with 13 queens, but now there's actually 12. They wrote that in there, so I guess that was their way of addressing the whole pervy pie situation. I don't know, do you feel like they should have addressed it head on, or it was best to just leave pervy pie to collect dust on the shelf? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. I think maybe it would have been, I personally wanted them to address the situation, but I can understand why they didn't. So then we kind of get a recap of the whole season. Notably, Ru, she is not in her full-on glamour. She is taking the stay-at-home approach quite literally. She's got a mask on. I think it's like a compression mask for like wrinkles and stuff. No shade. And she's got her hoodie on. So she's very comfortable in this setup. So then they introduce all of the queens, and one notable moment that I'm literally dead at is the fact that obviously they're all filming from their homes and they've got their little backdrops, and Aiden's backdrop was her and her like a massive, I think it was around 10 wigs or something. They all basically look the same. 2 long black wigs that look the same, and like about 5, I guess those pussycat wigs that she wears were on mannequin heads, and they literally all look the same. So maybe she wasn't wearing the same wig every week on the show. It's just that she decided to buy 5 of the same wigs. But yeah, I just thought that was very fun. And I'm not sure if her having all of her wig collections in the background was meant to be ironic, or her basically saying, well, I do have more than one wig. Because if she was trying to be serious, I just thought it was very funny. So the first person they address in the reunion is Heidi. And the key points were the whole situation where she called out Nikki for making a critique on her makeup. I didn't watch that Untucked episode, so I don't really know what went down, but I'm guessing she just got really defensive. And she basically says that she stands by what she did. He was very vague about it, so she wanted to, know why she didn't like her makeup. I think it was just Heidi just being very hyper defensive. I don't think that was the smart thing to do. But what do you guys think about that whole situation? Do you think Heidi was well within her rights to ask Nikki what she didn't like about her makeup? I think you're well within your rights to ask if it's really on you want to have feedback and you want to improve, but I don't think that was what she was on. I think she was just generally offended that Nicki Minaj didn't like her makeup. Then they rehashed the Gigi and Heidi beef, that whole argument when Heidi felt like Gigi had no place to tell her why she was in the bottom, aka her makeup. Gigi basically apologizes this time. I think Gigi apologizes more sincerely this time and basically says that perhaps it wasn't her place and that she now realizes it came across too harshly and that she hadn't taken into account that she was trying to improve on her makeup. And Heidi apologizes for the way that she came at Gigi, because even though it wasn't Gigi's place to say anything, I think Heidi was a bit extra the way that she came for Gigi. So we love to see it. We love to see the growth. Heidi also says that she has decided to keep the name hiding in the closet because the fans want her to keep the name. And Ru basically says that she understands, but she thinks that it's a mistake. I still am very confused that Ru is so pressed with Heidi's name, where I definitely don't think Heidi in the closet is really that bad of a name. I mean, we've had so many ridiculous names on this show that Ru has not called out. So again, I'm just confused at this whole Heidi name situation. So then the next contestant of focus is Nikki. And I think the key points in her interview is that she says that she regrets not backing herself up in the whole comedy challenge where she was playing the baby. because obviously in that challenge, when they asked who did they think was the weakest, I'm not sure if they said who deserved to be in the bottom or who deserved to go home. I can't remember whether it was just based on the challenge or in general. Everybody said Nikki, including herself. And now she's saying that she should have backed herself and that she actually doesn't think that she was that bad in the challenge and that perhaps people shouldn't have picked her to be in the bottom. So if you watched my podcast, you'll know that I think that she was bad. She was very bad in that challenge, and I think she definitely deserved to be in the bottom that week for her performance. But Ru does call out the other girls, and she basically asks them if they thought that they were correct with picking Nikki. First, Ru asks Britta, and Britta basically says that she agrees with her decision, but I think she was trying to dig herself out of a hole. She felt a bit cornered, so she kind of threw Heidi under the bus by saying, well, she would have said Heidi if it was based solely on the runway. But obviously, there's more than one spot in the bottom. So I think Britta was just trying to be nice about it, but she definitely thought that Nikki was the worst that week. Crystal starts backtracking and she chooses to throw Heidi under the bus as well. And it's almost funny because kind of like a repeat of the situation that Nikki is trying to say, like everybody just picked her because everyone was picking her. And now it seems like Crystal feels under pressure, so now she's throwing Heidi under the bus because Britta threw Heidi under the bus. And then Ru asks Heidi, and Heidi's the only person who keeps it 100% real and basically said, yeah, I would have picked you again. I said what I said. You were the worst that week, and I definitely was not going to pick myself. We all knew it was between us anyway. So I respect Heidi for keeping it real. But what do you guys think? Because I had an argument with one of my friends because they don't feel like Nikki should have been in the bottom. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. So the next contestant that Ru focuses on is Jackie, and we get a little cute edit of Jackie and her bossiest moments. And yeah, she was basically just being a manager and telling people what to do all throughout the season. Then we see another cute message from, I forgot what her character is. All I can remember is Harry Hamlin, but his wife. We get a message from his wife and Harry Hamlin as well, basically telling Jackie that they thought that she did a great job. So that was cute. And then Ru, again with the teasing. And I hate when Ru teases us and baits us, because she was saying how proud she was of Jackie and how Jackie is a winner. But did we hear them say, Jackie, we're going to bring you back? And I think that's what Jackie was hoping for as well. You can see the smile on her face, the preparation smile. Is she going to stay? Is she going to stay? And I think people at home are probably thinking, are they going to bring Jackie back? But we didn't hear anything from it. And I thought, if we're not going to hear anything about Jackie being brought out now, then we're never going to hear it. And we never did. So unfortunately, they're not going to bring Jackie back for the final, which I thought could be a possibility that they wouldn't bring her back, but I don't think that was necessarily the right decision. What do you guys think? Do you think that was a bit cruel, or do you think that was the right decision, just to leave the top three as it is? I personally think it's rude, considering it's kind of just like, so one person gets disqualified and that's it, like I don't deserve to take her place. I think it's a bit cheeky. So the next contestant of focus is Aiden, and right off the bat, Ru calls her out for wearing the same wig day in, day out. It's funny that she's calling her out now after all of the fans have called her out, but on the show, nothing was said. She also addresses kind of feeling like the odd one out, feeling like she was, couldn't really connect to the girls. And she also addresses the corset, and, the corset episode, it was that week. Who went home that week? I think it was Rock M that week, and there was just uproar on Twitter, people saying that Aiden should have been in the bottom this week. She should have been lip syncing. I personally think that she should have been in the bottom that week as well. I think she had the weakest outfit next to Rock M, and all of the other girls were complaining, saying that she was lazy, because obviously Rock M was a very strong queen. Besides that horrible outfit that she had for the week that she went, she was definitely still a strong queen. And I think if she had been saved that week, she possibly could have gone further. She would have gone far in the competition. And if she was up against Aiden, she probably would have won. A lot of the girls, I guess, were upset because they kind of felt like, well, Rock M just had a bad week, but Aiden has just been coasting. And she addresses that. She insists that she was not lazy, but she just didn't want to add more to the outfit because she didn't want to ruin it. I have to call bullshit on that because I think she was just being lazy, to be honest. And it's all right to just admit that you were lazy. I don't see what's so hard to admit when, you know, you clearly are lazy. Then she addresses the whole Brita beef. And this is quite interesting because she just tells it how it is. There's no kind of sidestepping. I think it's much easier for her to say how she feels now that they're all doing things virtually and they're not in the same room. So she basically says that she thinks that Brita was treating her so badly because she was projecting, because she was doing bad in the competition and she thought she was going to be doing better than she was doing. So she thought she would just project onto Brita. And then all eyes were on Brita, and I was interested to see what approach she was going to take. Was she going to be combative, or was she going to admit her wrongs? And I probably thought she was going to admit her wrongs, because I think when she came out of the house, she saw all of the backlash and, you know, it's time for a rebrand. I do think she was being honest with her admission, and I respect her for her honesty. And she basically said, yeah, I was projecting, I was doing shit, and I felt like I shouldn't have been doing that shit as this because I thought I was that bitch and I took it out on you and I'm sorry. So they had their apology, and again, growth, we love to see it, but you know, we've got to keep it petty for entertainment purposes. And Rue brings in Widow, and obviously then they play that little clip of Widow calling namely Brita, but the rest of the girls fake for all of this now love for Aiden after she left, because after Aiden left, they were all in the workroom like, oh my gosh, we love you, Aiden, you know? And Widow was like, y'all some fake ass bitches because all you did was bitch about her the whole time. Brita denies that she was being fake. She said that she loved Aiden because she generally did love Aiden. And that I find hard to buy, and I think maybe some honesty would have been better in this case, because that was a very hard sell. Notably, Aiden also denies that the girls were bullying her. Obviously, a lot of people were saying that the girls were bullying Aiden. I wouldn't say that the girls were bullying Aiden. I think they were definitely being antagonistic, but I wouldn't say bullying in my opinion. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you think that Aiden was being bullied? Were they not? And why do you think Aiden made a point to say that she wasn't bullied? Was that the producers there telling her to say it, or do you feel like she, you know, didn't want to be seen as the victim in this whole situation? Let me know what you guys think. So then they address some of the more emotional / dramatic eliminations. So first up was Dahlia. Obviously, Dahlia was not impressed that she was out first, and she just storms off. She didn't say bye to anyone. She was over the situation, and I think she just felt embarrassed about being out on TV. And I respect Dahlia's honesty. She basically said that she felt like shit was rigged and that she shouldn't have been in the bottom, or other people should have been in the bottom with her, i.e. Crystal. I'm struggling to remember what I said, but what I am sure on is that Dahlia definitely deserved to be in the bottom. She was definitely the worst. Well, what do you guys think about Dahlia? Do you respect her honesty? Do you think she's delusional? What do you guys think? Then, of course, the very emotional reaction from Rock M. That actually did break my heart. I did get in my feels about that, because I just felt like Rock M had so much potential, and I think she would have had an easier chance of staying in the competition if a certain someone, aka Aiden Zane, was in the bottom with her. And she basically explains the reason why she got so emotional. I think everybody already knew it was her dream being on the show, and she'd finally been on the show, and she felt like she had messed up this big opportunity. But she says after the show she's received so much love. It's all very happy, and then Rue just decides to bring up her mother, who of course is a meth addict. And you know what? I feel like in the reunion you don't really need to bring up sob stories, and I personally thought it was distasteful to bring it up, especially when she had been talking about so many positive things. I don't get why you would just decide to throw that in there, like emotionally. But she basically says that her mum is now sober, and after watching the episode, her mum apologized for the way that she made her feel in her childhood, and how they have a much better relationship now, which is good to hear. But I don't think it was necessary to bring that into the reunion. But I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. Do you think that was a necessary conversation in terms of relatability, kind of showing that, you know, some good had come out of that relationship? Or do you feel like they didn't need to bring it up, period? Let me guys know what you think. Then we focused on Widow, and right off the bat, she's called out for being defensive. And she admits that, yes, she was being defensive, and she said that she, you know, in the show, she realized that she needed to work on some things and that she just started to get into her own head, especially when she wasn't doing as good as she would have liked, and she felt like she was letting things get to her. She let the competition get to her, and that's the reason why she acted like she did. But she said she's in a better environment now and a better space now. I think I'm happy to hear that Widow is in a better space now, but I think they definitely went a bit too easy on Widow, because Widow was saying some things, some evil things, especially the way that she came for Jackie. They just didn't address that, which I thought was a big oversight in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Do you think do you think what we got from Widow was satisfying, or do you feel like they went a little bit too easy on her? Let me know what you think. We move on to Jan, and the main thing that they address, of course, is the whole Jan/Gigi Madonna challenge situation. Obviously, big debate on Twitter. For the most part, I saw people saying that Jan was robbed. I personally don't think so. I think Gigi blew it out of the park, and I think she exuded Madonna the best. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you think Gigi was the rightful winner or Jan was robbed? But what I don't agree with is the way that they baited her, because they said her name first, said something really positive as if to lead into, you are the winner of this challenge, and then to tell her that she was safe. I think that was very cruel and very mean, and it made good entertainment, but it was mean. And obviously, after that whole situation, she was basically saying she was emotional about Britta leaving. She wasn't emotional about losing. And everyone was just like, yeah. And she finally admitted on the reunion that, yes, she was more upset about losing the challenge, because she basically thought that she had this in the bag. Then they recut some of the looks, and I think my favourite look in the recap was Crystal's Freddy Krueger. And then we go to the reading library, and the readings were okay, but I think the most notable reading is Widow's reading, when she said that not even R. Kelly would piss on Gigi. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, and I think everybody in the room was like, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit of a read. Controversial, yes, but that was a good read, I'm not gonna lie. And we have a little scripted argument, which I felt was so unnecessary, when Rupaul'S basically calls out Jada for not giving her the apple roll, which I thought was really random. But then everybody started arguing, and you could just tell it was so overproduced. And I was just like, okay, this was so unnecessary. It is because everybody seems to be very mature on this show that they just needed to craft some drama. They have a little weird section about Gigi and Crystal shippers. And I'm not going to lie, I have not seen one single tweet about Gigi and Crystal being together. So I kind of feel like they've pulled that out of thin air. And Crystal and Gigi try and like tease something. And again, it just seems very produced by the producers. They're just kind of looking at things to stuff into this reunion episode. I personally don't care. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Have you actually seen anything about Gigi and Crystal being a thing, or is this news to you? Let me know what you think. And then we get a little family segment, which I think would have been a better section to put Rupaul'S situation in, but okay. So notable things, we get a little snippet of Crystal's brother, and Crystal's brother is fine. I might need to find out where he is on this dating app, because he's kind of fine. And then Jackie, we get some progress with her mother. She actually did tell her mother that she is a drag queen and that she was going to be on national TV. Of course, you know, once you get on national TV, you gotta say something. And surprisingly, it seems like Jackie's mother is accepting her for being a drag queen and wished her well, and even sent in a very cute and sweet letter to RuPaul. And I'm very happy for Jackie that her mother has managed to come around. We love a success story. And then they talk to the top 3, and even the mention of the top 3 actually triggers me because it should be top 4 with Jackie in it. Justice, hashtag justice for Jackie. And Ru asked them what this season has meant to them. Not gonna lie, there wasn't really much substance there. And they asked the other queens who they're rooting for. Now, they don't bother to go through the line. They only asked 3 of them, which again I thought was pretty strange. I feel like they should have just asked all of them. So they asked Aiden, and Aiden is Team Jada. They asked Jan, and Jan is surprisingly Team Gigi. And Widow is Team Crystal. Widow is Team Crystal. And she actually makes a point to say that in the beginning of the season, she said that people shouldn't rule Crystal out. And I gotta say, I guess she was right, because when she said it, when I first saw Crystal, other than that Freddy Krueger look, I was just like, I don't know about this girl. But yeah, she's really surprised me, Crystal, this season. I think a lot of it has been luck and the fact that the judges love her. But she has had a few highlights this season, more than I thought there were going to be. And that's pretty much it. So next week is going to be the finale, and it's going to be a virtual finale. And I don't know, guys, I don't think I'm here for this virtual finale. Of course, I'm going to watch it and review it. I think maybe they could have benefited from waiting until they could do a kind of social distancing lip sync. But a virtual lip sync, I don't know how that is going to work. And it's not the same. It's not the same in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Do you think it could work, or do you feel like they should have waited till they could actually film in a studio? In terms of the reunion, it definitely was not as good as the other reunions. And I think it's the fact that they weren't all together. And I think with the dynamic of the show, it works when they're all together. And I think we get a lot more of the real emotions, the real drama when they're all together, because when you're on webcam, it's just, you know, it's that added element of I'm on TV, because obviously when they're on the studios, they know that the cameras are on them. But I've done some stuff behind the scenes with reality TV, and you actually do tend to forget that the cameras are there. But obviously when you're doing stuff where you literally have a camera right in your face like a webcam, you always know that the camera is there. Whilst when you're in a studio, you're more likely to forget, and then more likely to get some real emotion, more organic and authentic conversations. And people will be less likely to be second guessing what they should say and what they look like on camera. But what do you guys think of this whole virtual reunion setup? I'd be interested to know. I guess they had to make things work, you know, with this whole situation going on. But I wasn't a fan of it. So let's check the hashtag. People are here for the 13th place on a 12-person season, Dahlia Drag. People are pointing out that Crystal and Gigi didn't confirm or deny that they were dating. So I guess some people do care. I personally don't. People are taking the piss out of Ru's mask. People are making pervy pie jokes. People are pointing out that there was no online beef between some of the queens this season. Yeah, I feel like obviously there were some issues here and there, but I feel like this cast was very mature. Pretty much drama-free in my opinion. People are saying that they're still bitter about Rock's elimination and being in the bottom 2 instead of Aiden. People are saying that this reunion was definitely an episode of RuPaul's Best Friends race. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I would have liked a bit more drama, you know? People, you know, just want to be best friends. Where's the drama, girl? People are saying that RuPaul is not wearing any makeup because she couldn't be asked to do her own, because obviously I'm assuming she has a team to do her stuff for her. So yeah, that's pretty much the rundown on Twitter. Were you satisfied with this reunion? Were you not? I'd be interested to know. And do let me know who you're rooting for. Like I said in the last episode, I'm rooting for Jada, but I don't mind if Gigi wins either. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to press that notification bell so you know when the next review is dropping. Till next time, guys. Bye.